Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we're super happy to have you here. And if you've been listening and enjoying for a while, I would be super grateful if you would please take a moment to give us a review on Apple Podcasts. It's one of the best and simplest ways to pay it forward and help others find the show so that they too can tap into the powerful perspectives and positive vibrations we are collectively emanating. The other unique and magical way to share this show is by sending any friends you think would benefit from listening to this podcast our Game with the Universe link at positivehead.com/game. Also listed in the show notes, which will serve them up a quote-unquote random episode when they click it. Just instruct them before clicking the link to close their eyes for a moment and sincerely ask the universe to cue up the episode that contains the insight and perspectives that they most need to hear at this point in their life journey, and then click to listen to whatever episode is synchronistically served up to them. I have heard time and time again from people about the incredible results they received playing the game. So just tell your friends magical results are guaranteed or their karma back. All right, all you positive heads, welcome back to another episode of the Positive Head Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Beecham, and I am here, ready, accounted for, and ready to go right into another episode of this lovely adventure that is the Positive Head Podcast. I appreciate all you guys for connecting and sharing and all the feedback. Been getting lots of feedback lately, lots of interaction and questions, and it's been really, really magical, and I appreciate it, especially since the departure of Dalian, my co-host. It's been great to hear from you guys more and, be able to answer questions and so forth. And so please keep those coming. I absolutely love getting feedback and connecting with you guys. And of course, we've got a Facebook group, Positive Heads, where you can connect with other listeners and, just share cool stuff, talk with each other, connect, all those beautiful things. And also writing in questions, of course, through Brandon@positivehead.com or right through the Positive Head website. You can reach out, and I love getting, like I said, I love getting that stuff. Have I mentioned that yet? I love hearing from you guys. Oh, yeah, I think I did. So speaking of, I received a message from a listener. Let's see, it was a few days ago. And it says, I'll just jump right into this. Hi, Brandon. Today was my last day at my job, and it just so happens that I finished the last podcast as well. As I got into my car to drive away, 2 dragonflies mating flew in my window as to say goodbye. Here starts the big transformation. I figured it was time to actually give a review. Now I have been asked 262 times. Wow, that's a lot. That means this person has listened to every episode. Wow. I can't even begin to elaborate on how many synchronicities have come about. Always in line with where I am in life, whether it's like a sign of what my next step should be, just a cool alignment, or a question I had been pondering. Some days, working in the beautiful garden, listening to your podcast, completely and utterly blissed out, giggling to myself at how perfect it was. Other days, I have been challenged, and listening to you brought me to be more at peace. And even occasionally, an idea has been brought to my attention that makes me uneasy and ventured me to explore more inward. I absolutely love what you're doing, so thank you. In the last few podcasts I was listening to, it brought up some unwanted feelings. You see, I have been dealing with depression for, I cannot remember a time in my life I wasn't. So I began writing a book about it over a year ago. In a few episodes, concepts that I'd been writing about came up with the people you were talking to. Initially, it made me feel somehow lesser, like those were my ideas and now I cannot claim them. This led me to deeper understanding of myself, and in turn, it made me realize how in sync my thinking was. It doesn't matter who said it first because all this information is source and we are just remembering anyways. And this, along with much deeper insights with too much detail to go into here, deflated any possessive or need to be special feelings that were there before. I took the word spoken one way when really it's a sign. Look at how beautiful this is, Kindle. You're so on the right path. And of course, that is written in by Kindle. And what a great review and what a cool, bit of feedback. And, there's not a definitive question in there, but there's some things that I wanted to talk on. And of course, someone who has listened to every single episode, Kindle has earned her right on the show for sure. I appreciate you very much, Kindle, for giving me feedback. And there's just some interesting stuff here. Well, one, here you're talking about dragonflies, which is another of those magical creatures. We've had several days of somehow coming up, from butterflies to crickets and, dragons. So yeah, those are another one of those sort of lumped in that category of cool symbolic, creatures. But won't talk much about that. We've talked a lot about that in the last few days. So what I did want to touch on is some of the things that you said that really kind of hit home with, I think, a lot of people. And that is, of course, one, you're dealing with depression or have dealt with it. That's something that a lot of people face. The other is, having ideas that are out there and then feeling like, someone else has got that idea before me. I can't lay claim to it. And you bring up a great point. You already figured this out on your own. I just wanted to elaborate. It's exactly what Kindle said here. It's like everything is collective consciousness. It's all source. And there's unlimited amounts of magic that is yet to come through, ideas that have yet to come through from source through a particular person to be brought into the world. And it doesn't mean just one person has to bring a concept through to the world. I mean, look at this show. There's lots of information out there similar to what I'm sharing. It's just my own, flavor, so to speak, of it. And of course, I'm sharing clips all the time from other teachers saying similar things. And it's all about collaboration, not competition. When you understand it's all an extension of self. And I think that's a lot of times people get very possessive about ideas. And, I used to be that way a lot. Being, a serial entrepreneur, having more ideas than I can count in regards to that. In my earlier days of my, entrepreneurial ventures, I was very fearful of people taking my ideas and things like that. And got to be really quiet. And now I'm the complete opposite because of exactly what Kindle's talking about here. If something's meant for me, it will be for me. I will thrive from it. I will benefit from it. I will help people with it, whatever it is that I'm supposed to do with it. If it's meant for someone else, great. There's 100 more ideas behind it. You have unlimited amounts of abundance of ideas that can flow through you and inspiration. When you're in your vortex, you're in the right vibrational space, it can just continue to flow through. There's no ending to what that will look like. And so, I think this is great. And of course, you've got the 100th monkey principle, which I'm sure I've talked about before. And, in the 50s, a doctor was observing these monkeys on an island and they started washing, I think it was sweet potatoes a certain way. And then the younger generation of monkeys started copying. And after a certain tipping point, they observed on other islands, not connected, the same thing was happening. So there is a collective consciousness. We have evidence of that. We know that you're tapped in with other people. And I would take this as a sign that you're on a good path, just as you said. It's how do you tell the story here? And Kindle has made the very wise decision. It's not, oh no, there's not enough, lack of abundance, I lost my idea. It's like, what story is Kindle telling? Oh, wow, this is a sign that I'm on a good path. I'm tapped in. I'm in the vortex. I'm tapping into these other, brilliant minds with brilliant ideas. So look at those two totally different perspectives on the same concept, right? It's like, not enough. It's been stolen from me. Lack of abundance. Or, wow, look at this great sign. I wonder what great ideas will flow from me next. Like I'm in line with all these other great thinkers, and there's plenty more where that came from. Two totally different stories are being told on the same experience. And that is such a key point, is learning how to tell that story and understanding, that you are infinite. You have no shortage of whatever you need. And, I actually came across a quote that resonates and is in a similar sort of vein. And what I want to do now is take a moment and read. This is actually an excerpt on being open. And it's from a guy named David Deida. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Deida. Close enough. And it's from a book called Blue Truth, written a decade or so ago. And David said, right now and in every moment, you are either closing or opening. You are either stressfully waiting for something, more money, security, affection, or you are living from your deep heart, opening as the entire moment and giving what you most deeply desire to give without waiting. If you're waiting for anything in order to live and love without holding back, then you suffer. Every moment is the most important moment of your life. No future time is better than now to let your guard down and love. Everything you do right now ripples outward and affects everyone. So there you go. Your posture can shine your heart or transmit anxiety. Your breath can radiate love or muddy the room in depression. Your glance can awaken joy. Your words can inspire freedom. Your every act can open hearts and minds. Opening from heart to all, you live as a gift to all. In every moment, you are either opening or closing. Right now, you are choosing to open and give fully, or you are waiting. How does your choice feel? Your heart always knows the truth of openness. In every moment of your life, your heart tacitly compares the closed suffering that you are doing to the bliss of your true openness. This moment can be deeper. Our love can be more full. My life can be more fulfilling. Your heart knows the truth of openness and suffers the tense lie of your closure. Chronic dissatisfaction as how you sense that you are living this lie. No matter how much pleasure or pain comes your way, dissatisfaction means you are resisting the openness of the moment, the openness of who you are, the truth. When you are not open to emotions, people, and situations, then you are denying your most basic nature, the openness of who you are. Practice being openness by opening to feel, just as you are. Even though you may have habits of closure, you can always practice opening to feel. Opening to feel whatever you are feeling now. Open to feel your breath moving in and out. Feel the posture of your body. Feel the space and motion in your room around you. Feel the emotional tone of the people nearest you. Open and feel. Open as feeling. Open to feel everything. And feel as openness itself. So this, of course, ties in to what we were talking about a moment ago, and even goes further. It is what a beautiful thing, and of course touches on the idea of depression, which Kendall mentioned. You can breathe. Your breath can radiate love or muddy the room in depression. It's like, what is the story? What are you resonating with? How are you? What are you going to do? What are you going to do with this moment? And of course, there is only one really good choice of what to do with this moment. And actually, I found a clip that I just really love as well, that talks about, kind of takes this even a step further. So let's keep going down the rabbit hole, shall we? This is Abraham Hicks. Surprise, surprise. About you and collective consciousness. I found this on the Abe Classics YouTube page. Take a listen.
Esther used to say to Jerry, they'd walk off the stage and Jerry would be breathing hard and saying, wow, 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 wow. He couldn't wait to get back to the sleeping room so that he could dig into his notes and begin defining what he had just heard. And Esther would say, I'm glad it was good. To me, it sort of felt like, what are you going to have for lunch? Because when you're up to speed with it, it is so much the next logical step that it doesn't bowl you over in that overwhelming way. And that's why we continue to want to guide you in your understanding that the more you reach for it and find it, the more you reach for it and allow it, the more you reach for it and allow it, the more natural it feels, until the next logical step is just something else. It's like we want you to acknowledge the magnificence of it, but from inside it, where it doesn't feel magnificent but normal. So here's all of this amassing of interesting, delicious, beautiful, intelligent, wanted things. Everything from possessions to ideas to understandings to beingness. In other words, it's all there. This expansive collection of your ideas. is divine and magnificent. And here you are, letting it in or not, doing a little bit of all of it, but not able to define it because it's been going on for so long and it is so much, and it's been added to by others who know it too. So your vortex is huge in relationship to where you stand. Let's just stay there for just a bit. Now, we've been talking to you through endless processes for a long time. But today we're talking about this vibrational grid that is emotionally based, and that if you're selfish enough to care about how you feel, and you're willing to practice good feeling thoughts enough that you got a pretty good habit of it going, then you can click in with the core of who you are. And once you've done that, this huge compilation of all things wanted by you will make their way into your experience in perfect timing. Not an avalanche that would just overwhelm you, but in perfect timing. Every idea in the world not coming to you all at once, just the one that matters right now with this gadget that you're fussing with right now. Every piece of information not coming, every joke you've ever heard not coming to you right now, just the one that applies to this situation that will be most received and appreciated by those who are around you. In other words, bit by bit, the manifestations filling into this grid because they've been collected, but they're coming to you in this pointed now. We've attempted to say that in so many different ways. We said the creative process is 3 steps. Step 1 is you ask, and contrast helps you do that. Step 2 is source answers. That's that vortex gathering. And step 3 is you must find a way of allowing it so that it can manifest in your experience. We're just today wanting you to understand that you can't conceive of all that you've been, and you can't conceive of all that you will be. You can't even, from your physical human perspective, conceive of all that you are. But you can very well be focused in this powerful now, in an attitude of love and appreciation of self and others. And you can achieve a vibrational alignment that will allow, in the precise timing and movement, everything that is necessary and allowable by you in this moment in time to happen, which will make for a really good moment now, and a really good moment now, and a really good moment now, and a really good moment now, sustainable, a really good moment now, and a really good moment now, and a really good moment now. So what are some of the things that we've sort of set aside here? We're asking you to stop measuring yourself against anyone else. We're asking you to acknowledge the wholeness of who you were coming in and all that you've added to it ever since. We're asking you to acknowledge that law of attraction has gathered the cooperative components and that they're standing in the wings ready to move into your experiences at any time. And we're asking you to do one singular thing. Chill out. Find a reason to feel good. Don't use verbiage that makes you feel overwhelmed. Don't make it bigger than you are. Make it in the wings. Make yourself ready. Make it ready for you. Make you ready for it. Acknowledge its loving content. Acknowledge your worthy relationship with it. You don't have to consider what everybody else wants. You only have to consider what you've got in your vortex. And you don't even have to consider what's in your vortex. Now we want you to only consider what you're doing vibrationally with your grid, which lets it in. We've been telling you for a while, you've done enough sifting and sorting, and you've put enough in your vortex to keep yourself busy for 20 or 30 lifetimes. So what's it all about, Abraham? Why am I here? I came, I filled up my vortex, now what do you want me to do? And we say, we want you to have a good moment right now. We want you to have a good moment right now. We want you to have a good moment right now. What's it for? What is life all about? Well, it's this triad of intentions of freedom and growth and joy. The basis of your life is freedom. The intense desire of your life, the goal of your life is joy. Then everything else just falls right into place. You cannot cease expansion. But you can have all kinds of expansion while you hold yourself away from the joy, you see. And so, for Esther, once Jerry reemerged in the non-physical, it sort of lighted up the trail in a powerful new way for her, because she became aware of things that, even though she'd heard us say it for quite a while, she didn't understand it fully. And that was that Jerry's interest in this work and in you and in this equipment and in this platform and in this forum and in this leading edge conversation did not end with his reemergence into non-physical. it continues, but it continues non-resistant. In other words, it continues. Now his attention to it and his interest in it is as keen as it ever was. It's just absent of any resistance, you see. And so as Esther feels his eagerness about what's taking place in a conversation like this, she can hardly wait. She's getting a transcription of it. Someone is transcribing it word for word, and Esther sits with that transcription and allows everything that Abraham and Jerry are thinking and feeling about it to come through, in other words, and the accentuation of what's going on here in this room will be embellished hundreds and thousands of times fold as she allows their focus to focus upon it again. You see what we're getting at? For us to try to explain to you who you are required that we first let you understand that you are more than you see here in this physical body, that there's another part of you. But in doing that, we sort of split you up more than we wanted to. We made the physical you, we made the inner being you. What we really want is a blending of the two of you. We really want the two vantage points that equal you to be blended together in a powerful moment. And you know when you are reveling in a joyous moment that you've accomplished that, you see. So your only work, once it's in the vortex, is to accomplish a grid that allows it to fill in. Toward what end? That's the question that we want you to ask of yourself and answer. Toward what end? Toward what end? Why do you want the grid to fill in? Why would it be important that the grid fills in? We can only think of one reason. Why is it important that the grid fills in? You might like it. It's the culmination of what you've been putting there. But what trips you up is if you need to see it before you like it, then you hold it off. You got to like it before you see it, and then it will come and show more of itself to you. You got to believe it before you see it, and then it will show itself to you. You must become the vibrational sensor and responder that you were born to be, you see. It may seem odd to you because here you are, manifested versions of that which is us, and we're trying to teach you how to be less manifested so that you can be more manifested. But we're trying to teach you to care less about the manifestation so that you can align with more that you want, so that your manifestations are more of what you do want and less of what you don't want. And what would be the reason for that? You might like it. You're supposed to feel good. Life is supposed to be fun. You didn't say, I'll go make the world a better place because it needs to be a better place. You said, I want in on this game. I want to go have some fun here. I want to apply my mind to that. I want to apply my unique perspective to that. I'd like my ideas to add to that. Why? Does the world need me? No. Somebody else will figure it out if I don't. Then why? Because it's fun to figure it out. It's fun to be interested. It's fun to observe. It's fun to conclude. It's fun to launch rockets. It's fun to be out of whack and then to deliberately get into alignment. It's fun to feel movement. It's fun to feel energy. It's fun to be powerful. It's fun to take the energy that creates worlds and flow it to the specifics of something that matters to me. It's fun to watch universal response. It's fun to attract momentum. It's fun to gather others. It's fun to feel the fullness of who I am. It's fun to revel in the value of others. It's fun. It's really fun to be physically alive. It's fun to be out on the leading edge. It's fun to be a powerful creator. It's fun to know my power. It's fun to know who I am. It's fun to love me. It's fun to love them. It's fun. It's who I am. I can't cease being, so I might as well make it fun.
Before we continue on with today's episode, for those of you interested in getting more fantastic fungi in your life, I want to take a quick moment to tell you about a friend of mine's brand new company, The Great Mother. Recently, I have been drinking The Great Mother's superfood mushroom coffee alternative called Ritual, as well as regularly taking their awesome Ally microdoses, and I am truly loving both. As you probably know, these days, many of the world's highest achievers and performers swear by microdosing. The problem is it can still be difficult to get a hold of magic mushrooms. That's why when my friend reached out, who lives in an area and country where legalization is not a problem like it was in the past, and said he'd be willing to offer microdoses to my listeners, I wanted to pass the word along. Ally microdoses are 100% organic. And in addition to a small amount of the magic active ingredient, they also contain functional mushrooms like lion's mane, cordyceps, chaga, and other brain boosters like bacopa. Ally is essentially a full spectrum nootropic. And of course, the coffee alternative ritual doesn't contain magic mushrooms, but it has an array of the best organic functional mushrooms in the world. And, with functional mushrooms, it's really important to get them from the highest integrity sources. And whereas some other highly popular mushroom coffee alternatives on the market only contain a few varieties of functional mushrooms in their actual ingredients, Ritual has 7. Not only does it contain more types, it also contains 3 to 4 times the amount that the big brands have in each serving, and it tastes amazing. I actually like to have it on its own as well as mixing it into my coffee sometimes as well. However, since this is definitely a unique offering, there are a few steps. First, just reach out and request to follow the private page, thegreat.mother on Instagram. Once you've been accepted to follow, just message what you're interested in getting and someone will get back to you. So this is really the very end of this, wow, what a rampage of goodness, right? What are we doing? I want to add my ideas to this game. That's all that's happening. This is just a big game. You're adding your unique way of viewing the world. You jumped in with that, and yeah, there's going to be crossover. Of course, there's crossover. It's reflections everywhere. It's a giant mirror here. There's no shortage. There's no lack of abundance. Your job is to have fun. It's supposed to be fun, and I love it here. She even Abraham says, "Believe it before you see it." That reminded me of the Be It to See It positive head t-shirts that we have. So yeah, believe it to see it. It's supposed to be fun, all these things. But one of the, to really tie it all together, I love the end, how she says, I can't cease being, so I might as well make it fun. So that's really sort of the fun dilemma of Source, right? Source is never going to cease being. So you are Source. So what are you going to do with it? Make it fun, relax about all the things you think that are yours or you need, and just let everything flow. And the more you can sort of, it's sort of this balancing, as she talked about also in the video. It's like letting it go, being less attached to any outcome or idea that's yours or what have you. And then the more that can come through, it's just, it's so interesting that we can have what we want when we don't need it. You can't cease being, so you might as well make it fun. Are you going to make today fun? Whatever it is, you're going to work and that drab, drudgery of a job that you've manifested for yourself. Now, why is it drab drudgery of a job? Because you've decided it's drab drudgery to begin with. That's why you're attracting and reflecting that to yourself. So how do you get out of it? You bring fun to it. You start seeing the fun in it. You make it fun. Find a way to make it fun today. Whatever you're doing, go make your day fun. If there's nothing easily identifiable as fun showing up on your path today, you create it. You're the source, and watch how you can switch things around. Watch the magic you can create in your interaction with the people by setting the intention. I can't cease being. I'm already stuck in this experience, this job, this circumstance, because it's a reflection of past vibration today. So I'm here. This is what I've created up to this moment, but now I'm going to bring fun to it today and see what happens differently for you. See, and not only if you keep doing that, watch how those circumstances will change, and you'll sort of, if it's not a preferential sort of experience or job or relationship or situation, watch if you can bring fun to it by embracing it and loving it, how all of a sudden new things open up for you. This is the path to doing it. This is being it to see it. Be that fun person to experience circumstances that naturally bring about more fun. You want to become enlightened? What are we talking about all the time with the spirituality stuff, like enlightenment, right? That's a word that you hear all the time. You want to become enlightened? Lighten up. Quit taking yourself so seriously. That is the biggest problem 95% of us have, is we're taking ourselves so seriously. That's such a funny, haha. Oh man. Oh, so many levels of funny. That's funny. I mean, that's the whole funny thing, is if you lighten up, you quit taking yourself so seriously, you have a good time. And if you have a good time, more magic comes. This is the key. And so few of us, we take ourselves so darn seriously. We get so caught up in the rat race and the drama of our lives and poor me and this whole story. Lighten up. Keep it light. That is, get enlightened. Let's get enlightened, shall we? The formula. It's a beautiful formula. And I love you all. Thank you for tuning in. As always, keep on keeping on doing what you're doing. Make it a fun day and enjoy this track by Cellular. It's called Sandstorms. Until next time.